The Industrial Prince mod is one of the most recognisable mods in all of Castle Crashers, and with its recent 5.0 release, the mod now offers multiple playable characters all with their own unique magics, custom levels and enemies to fight, including a new boss fight, and then whatever this is. I was also lucky enough to play with the mod creator himself, the very talented modder Zumbee. So if you like what you see, then I will link the mod and Zumbee's YouTube channel in the description below. But jumping into the game and we get a sneak peek at all of the new playable characters. But since I'm not a level 100 Mafia boss like Zumbee, I'm stuck playing the battle damage Grey Knight. Although I'm not really complaining, as this guy's magic is actually insane. But after selecting our characters, we first went and visited the blacksmith, where there is now a suspicious looking bunker. Upon entering, we are greeted with the character customization, where you can change the look of your character to pretty much anything you want. But that's honestly irrelevant, because look what Cardinal can do instead. What? Did Cardinal just drop a turd? After leaving the bunker, we then went to see the newly added weapons and oh. Where was I? Oh, yeah. After exiting the giant frog the stinky way, we went inside the animal nursery where Zumbee showcased his new animal orb. Who is this?
It's Bashing Bull, the
Bashing
new pet
Bull.
animal orb.
What? Does that use your magic? No, it Eh?
And you can also do this.
What? Wait. And that's with Bashing Bull?
Yes.
After finishing up at the blacksmith, I decided to challenge Zumbee to a game of All You Can Quaff. That's right, this mod also brings back the original Xbox 360 minigame as well as the PS3 volleyball game. But after losing to Zumbee, we changed our characters to some higher level ones, and then checked out the Nightmare store. This is where you need to go in order to get some of the new weapons, as well as Bashing Bull. Is that a reference to SpongeBob?
Maybe.
After checking out all of the new areas, we could finally get to the meat of this new 5.0 mod, that being Nightmare mode. This game mode essentially takes Insane mode and turns it up to 11, with enemy health changes, new AI, and all enemies now being medium juggles. Yet, despite being called Nightmare mode, this is one of the most fair difficulties I have ever played. Unlike some other mods. Lethal Rush. But loading into Home Castle and we immediately see one of the new status effects.
I don't know why I have them, I just do.
Whoa, whoa!
Peace.
Meat! Is that from my cotton candy weapon?
Okay, so that effect that thing has is called Sticky, and it summons bees if it lands. It summons bees to attack whatever the effect landed on.
So as Zumbee said, every time I hit an enemy, I have a chance to summon friendly bees who will fight for me. This comboed great with my animal orb Ratso, who would occasionally bring me back cheese that buffs my strength at the cost of lowering my defense. But moving on, and Zumbee showed off Stoveface's new magic.
Hey, watch this.
What? You can't just pull that out? Like, what? Ah, that's why they call him Stoveface. And not only that, but Stoveface can also throw out giant boulders that roll across the screen. This would come in handy for our first mini-boss, that being the Siege Tower, which is kind of like a smaller war machine. So after beating the war machine with my bee army, we came across the first elite enemy of the run. These enemies will do more damage, but also have less health, meaning we'll want to take them out first. And after destroying the wooden door, we came to the Barbarian War Bridge, where there was now another war machine? How is that bridge not collapsing? But after destroying War Machine number 2, this happened. Are they all unlocked just by doing Nightmare mode? Oh. Uh-oh.
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 That... Well, we're off to a great start.
And if things couldn't get any worse, Zumbee went and removed the Barbarian boss PP Ground Strat. Can you not get PP Ground Strat?
Because the earthquake.
What?
Because an earthquake, so
right, guys.
Can't get buried.
We're going to boycott this mod. Everyone, boycott this mod. PP Ground Strat is gone. This was honestly unforgivable. So I beheaded Zumbee and kissed the first princess. But before continuing on our merry adventure, we quickly took a minute to go and look at some of the other changes made to the playable characters. Wait, someone said it summoned snakes. I got lied to. Oh, never mind.
There they are.
There they are. Never mind.
Yes.
That's okay. What? So I think it's time to talk about this rage stat that sits underneath the XP bar. This is rage, which can be gained by doing damage whilst being beefy. Once the rage meter is filled, a lightning strike would occur and knock all of the enemies into the air. This makes your beefy form even more beefier whilst also unlocking a completely new moveset. And if you haven't noticed already, this is all a reference to Dad and Me, a game made by Dan and Tom before Castle Crashers. So after testing out some new magics as well as the rage system, Zumbee and I took one final stop back at the barracks in order to retrieve the best weapon in this mod. Oh,
Brother.
What? And with our final loadouts, we headed into Thieves Forest, defeated the Troll Mother, and came across a stash of guns. Surely this is not a set piece, right? What? 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 So what's the gun? Oh. I see.
That's what the gun's for.
I see. Oh, that is so cool. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. I was not prepared for that. I never thought I'd see the day where Abandoned Mill became a difficult level, but Zumbee did it. And speaking of things I never thought I'd see, and in PP Strello's cave, Zumbee was kind of getting freaky with PP Strello. Although I guess that's nothing compared to what happened in Flowery Fields. But, boss?
Yes, boss.
But, what? Hey, yo! What? No, hear me out, chat. Hear me out. Next was the Groom boss fight, which has had a few changes. So apart from turning to the dark side, the Groom will now summon 2 tanky Coneheads during his Organ phase, resulting in us having to defeat both Coneheads in order to stop the bombs and continue doing damage. However, by the time we got to the Groom boss fight, it was no longer Reckless and Zumbee, and instead Throwless and Throwbee. Yeah, stop him! Get him! Oh!
What?
Oh. Yeah, after that embarrassment, we took our anger out by bullying an enemy who couldn't fight back. After getting back on track, we made our way through Cyclops Gate, which now has enemies, defeated the Cyclops boss fight, and watched on as his minions saw their paycheck go up in flames. Next was Lava World, which is one of the harder levels in the game. So let's see what Zumbee did for Nightmare Mode. So, wait, let me get straight. You took one of my least favourite features in the game and added it to these guys. I hate immune phases. That's why I hate the scarabs and fish people. Yeah, so fire demons now go immune whenever they're getting back up. But the animation is cool, so I guess I'll let it slide this time. Further in the level, and we got to see what a fire demon elite looks like, and I can't lie, that flag is amazing. Although I didn't get much time with it, as the evil wizard and necromancer came along and spawned literal wither skeletons. You know, the ones from Minecraft that also apply wither to you? So it was no surprise when we both withered away. But loading back into the level, and Zumbee used his advanced aura to insta-kill all of the enemies. We then bullied the volcano and made it to the dragon boss fight, who seemed a little confused. Maybe he was also wondering why there are wither skeletons. But after grabbing the golden wheel, we made our way through Industrial Castle, where I got to see the Industrialist's insane new magic. After making it past the traps, we made our way onto the castle's elevator, where I had a nice surprise. I think that's what you want. Marcus. What? Marcus!
Oh, there he is.
Marcus! He's here! However, what was not a nice surprise was getting backshots from the enemy brood. Oh, whoa. Was I getting backshots? Next was the industrial machine, which was now being operated by a fencer. That's because we had to fight the industrial prince alongside the machine, resulting in a chaotic fight and getting emoted on. Our next attempt was not any better, since I got hit with the nastiest combo I think I've ever seen. But Zumbee and I was able to clutch up, scaring away the industrial prince and gathering the third and final relic. But after getting humiliated by the industrial prince, I wasn't just going to let that slide. So we chased the prince off his castle and followed him into this underwater tube. This loaded us into Tube Entrance, which is one of the new levels added in the Industrial Prince mod, and I absolutely love it. Especially the attention to detail, like the polluted lake, which is something we can see on the map. But after fighting off some enemies, we eventually delved deeper into this underground lair, revealing the Industrial Prince's secret robot army. This is where I acquired one of the new usable items in this mod, that being the shuriken, which can be thrown like the boomerang but does damage to enemies as well as teleporting the player. It's also pretty fun to break the game with. But after beating the robot army, as well as fighting some fishmen who have some really cool attacks, we encountered the Industrial Prince in his hidden bunker, resulting in an intense boss fight filled to the brim with bombs, spiked balls rolling along the floor, and industrialist missiles. And after the intense boss battle, Zumbee was able to call a truce with the Industrial Prince, using our mutual hatred of the evil wizard. And one handshake later, the Industrial Prince allowed us into his secret vault of treasure where I was able to unlock my favourite character. But that's when this happened. I love him, and now he's unlocked character. Oh.
Uh-oh. That's a problem. Can we exit the map?
Why did we just get transported to Lethal Rush? Yeah, so because modding Castle Crashers is like navigating the Enigma code, I somehow accidentally loaded myself into Lethal Rush, which is a completely different Castle Crashers mod, further proving that I can break pretty much anything you put in front of me. So yeah, sorry Zumbee. Next was the desert, where the scarabs literally became living cannonballs. No, seriously, these guys would launch themselves at me and Zumbee. And after taking a death in the desert, we aura found our way back through the waves of enemies, which ended up breaking the game. Next was the alien ship, which had a cool Easter egg involving various people who worked on the mod. I then got bombarded with like every single alien from the Alien Invasion. But speaking of Alien Invasion, the next level actually had a really small, hard to miss Easter egg from that game. Yeah, nice and parallel parts like that. Look at that.
Aliens.
What? Jeez, dude, what? After fighting off the alien invasion, we made our way to the marsh, where the skeletons now shoot arrows that basically have aimbot. And if it wasn't obvious just by looking at the screen, these skeletons were a complete nightmare to fight. Oh, that's why it's called Nightmare Mode. Anyway, if you think things couldn't get worse from here, then you're wrong, since the skeletons have a random chance of respawning after you defeat them, resulting in waves of pure suffering. But at least it's not as bad as whatever that guy's dealing with. Moving through the marsh, and we eventually encountered the Trauma the boss fight, where Zumbee decided to attack a frog that was just minding its business. However, I knew that this was no mere frog. Oh, good luck with your adventures, Mr. Frog. Does he actually stay there? Oh! See, I mean, this frog a chill. Yeah, he didn't like you, see? That's what you get for attacking him. After parting ways with Frogolus, we came across the Animal Orb Snailbert, who normally spawns here at the end of Marsh. So like any Castle Crashers playthrough, I went and touched the snail. Hey, what? What? Who is this? Why am I getting punished for touching the snail? If you thought that was weird, then you're not ready for Comboss. He's so dumb. Why is there a turd, Zumbee? Who dropped a turd?
What? That cow over there.
Can I pick up the turd? He's going. Hank Hill! Ow! Yeah, so ignoring Hank Hill and the cow, for the corn boss fight, we had to go beefy and throw propane tanks. Hitting the corn boss will do 1/4 of its health, resulting in a wave of enemies. Defeat these enemies and throw more propane, and the corn boss was eventually defeated. Next was Medusa, who has had a lot of changes in this mod. Firstly, you can only do damage by knocking Medusa snakes into her, adding an interesting challenge that was honestly really fun to do. But after getting her health to 50%, Medusa will then do her new and updated beam attack, instantly shooting out laser blasts that turn you to stone on impact. However, if you're a skilled gamer like me, you can block these attacks, deflecting it into Medusa for some pretty big damage. This also stunned her, allowing me and Zumbee to get some melee attacks, bringing an end to this awesome fight. Moving on to Full Moon, and I was able to medium juggle the stove faces, which was pretty cursed to do. Further in the level and we were met with more stove faces, but I wasn't too worried since I had my trustworthy ladder strat. Right? Well, no, since Zumbee made ladder strat almost impossible to pull off. And that's thanks to enemies having more speed, stove faces temporarily becoming beefy after being knocked down, and the Eskimo's new magic attack which slides an ice cube across the ground. So to no one's surprise, we both took a few deaths here. Now I know what you're thinking. How did we pass this level as my one and only strat for Full Moon doesn't work? Well friend, let me tell you a little secret on beating these difficult mods, and that's being friends with the mod creators. Yeah, so me and Zumbee just skipped onto Snow World. However, that was honestly a mistake, since there were now stove faces here seeking revenge for skipping their level. No, but in all seriousness, Snow World has had a lot of improvement in Industrial Prince 5. With the already mentioned stove faces adding enemy diversity, winter imps who have a cute little scarf, and a new fishman enemy that has unique clothing and attacks. Combine all that with the Eskimo's new ice attack and we were in for a chaotic time. But moving into Frost King's castle, and here is where we get the mittens. These are a usable item that will temporarily stop you slipping on ice. But moving on to the Frost King, and this fight has had a lot of changes. Firstly, you don't actually fight the Frost King. Instead, he'll summon waves of enemies that you have to defeat, before teleporting in and doing damage to himself. That means we have to fight 3 waves of enemies in order to defeat the Frost King, which was actually enjoyable to do now that we had the mittens. So after the Frost King defeated himself, Zumbee and I moved into Wizard Castle Interior and... Okay then. In this level, we had to fight the 3 waves of cult minions, except they were extra gooey this time. Yeah, so like the lava demons from Lava World, every time we knocked over a cult minion, they would goo themselves back up. Although that's not too weird considering what the painter boss was like.
Hopefully lightning damage should be.
What? What? What is that? What did he just say? What is that? What is that? And kill Orange Knight? Is that the Minecraft? Was that Sid the Sloth? What's coming out of his helmet? What?
Yes!
What is this? Why did it just do that noise?
Paint Junior's
Paint
here.
Junior? What? What? We got Paint Junior before Paint Junior. Next was the Undead Cyclops, which had a slight few changes. The first being that the Undead Groom stays out during the whole duration of the fight, meaning we had to avoid him whilst also doing damage to the Cyclops. And speaking of him, the other change is that the Cyclops stomping attack now does earthquakes, meaning if you're on the floor during any of his stomps, you're gonna take damage. But overall, this fight wasn't too difficult. Although that cannot be said for the Necromancer, since the first wave literally opens up like this. And things don't get better on the second wave, since we have more beefies and a thief that shoots his aimbot arrows. But where things really peaked in difficulty was the third wave, which, just play the clip. Oh, another wave. Marker. Oh god, what is this?
Marcus and Barbarian Boss.
Yeah, so to absolutely no one's surprise, I took her down here. But that's when something really unexpected happened. So when Zumbee came over to revive me, the Necromancer decided to retreat. Probably because he didn't want to face me, especially when I'm mad. And definitely not because Zumbee accidentally hit the kill bind or anything. But after regrouping with the Industrial Prince and this deer for some reason, we made our way to the final boss of the run. For the first phase, we actually had to fight the Necromancer since he retreated in his own boss room. And after bullying him for the first half of his health bar, the Necromancer decided to lock in and straight up sent us to the Shadow Realm.
I'm fine to make it clear. I didn't really have to use it for anyway. Plus
Oh, damn it.
Are we in the Shadow Realm? What is this? Oh my god. Oh my god, what is this? Oh. Where? Are we like in the void? Get off it, get off it, get off it.
Yeah, so touching the Necromancer's bubble will send you to this different area, where there's this crazy black knight that would just one-shot you. The goal here is to run away on this set path and try to escape before you get killed, which is easier said than done. But after a few more deaths and also some hiccups, we were finally able to beat the Necromancer and move on to the Evil Wizard. For the first phase, the Industrial Prince, Zumbee and I basically just melted his health bar, so that was it. Things didn't get better for the Evil Wizard during his second phase since we all just melted him again. But the third and final phase is where things got serious, since the Evil Wizard summoned this awesome looking mace before spamming every single attack across all of his phases. This, as you could imagine, was a very crazy fight, resulting in the Industrial Prince taking like 5 deaths in a row. But after getting one final res, the Industrial Prince locked in and hit the final blow, destroying the wizard's castle and landing safely on the crystal below. This brings us on to the credits, which I've probably watched like 100 times by now. But finally, someone decided to add a skip button, which I've not seen in any other mod. Like, if that doesn't convince you to get this mod, I don't know what else will. But after skipping the credits, me and Zumbee had one final duel, which was slightly unfair, and finally put an end to Industrial Prince 5.0 Nightmare mod. Before the video ends, I'll just have some background footage of some of the other smaller features in this mod that didn't really make it into the main video. But I'd just like to give a massive thank you to Zumbee for joining me in both of these streams. He's an extremely talented modder and I'm really excited to see what other mods he's cooking up for the future. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel in the description below, where you can also find a link to this Industrial Prince 5.0 mod. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.